We love GRTV.
We love GRTV. We love GRTV.
We love GRTV.
Welcome back to another episode of We Love GRTV. I'm your host, Ruiz, and I'm here with my friend April Ruiz to talk about her business, Mosaic Mastermind. April, how you doing today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. So, where are you from?
Born in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay, so you lived in Grand Rapids your entire life?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay.
Yep, this is home.
This is home now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do you like about Grand Rapids?
I like that people in Grand Rapids are very creative. I like that it's a great city to start being an entrepreneur, if that's something you're interested in exploring. And I like that networks can be very supportive.
That's true. That's true. We do have a lot of places for new entrepreneurs to just pop up and go and try it out and see what they want to do. So with that being said, where'd you get your start?
I would say I got my start by being born into a family of educators. My mom was a teacher, her brother was a teacher, my father's sister was a teacher, and I had several relatives who were educational administrators or paraprofessionals, including my grandmother. So when my mom was at school teaching, my grandma was at home with me, going over shapes and sounds and colors and letters. So I actually started school already knowing how to read.
Yeah, you're ahead of the game for sure. So are you the only entrepreneur in your family?
I am not the only entrepreneur in my family. I'm proud to say I have two cousins who are doing their own thing in Florida and in Washington State. Shout out to Charles Lewis III, owner of Cywell Inc. in Florida, and Luther Lyle, who is a home inspector and has his own business in Seattle. And I'm very proud to announce that my sister, Elizabeth Harvey, who's in Indianapolis, has a candle business called Bourgeois Wicks. So check her out, Facebook, Instagram.
Okay. So how did your upbringing around a lot of educators push you to be an entrepreneur, or what caused you to be an entrepreneur?
I actually had never thought I would be an entrepreneur. I grew up in a time where I would say my generation was heavily pushed towards either medicine or engineering. We did not have a lot of examples of entrepreneurship that I remember. It was go to school, go to college, you can do this, you can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, you know, a lot of the higher profile traditional roles, but we didn't have a lot of examples of entrepreneurship, or at least we didn't have a lot of steers towards entrepreneurship from an advice giving level. So I never thought I would be in education in any capacity. I always saw teachers as overworked, underappreciated, and underpaid. So I never thought in my wildest dreams I would enter the field of education. But I noticed that even in the traditional jobs I held in various sectors, I was always teaching or coaching my coworkers, my peers, our clients. So it seemed like education was kind of a part of my calling all along.
Okay.
But I'd also like to say that the entrepreneurial role came when one of my peers, who I was tutoring in Spanish when he was taking some college classes, gave me the idea to monetize what I was doing and turning it into a business. So yeah, that's actually how Mosaic Masterminds kind of grew. I was just tutoring friends and, you know, maybe a couple referrals from church, and here we are today, 18 years later, with a team.
So you tutor math and Spanish, and what else have you coached other people on?
Oh, we tutor all subjects from K-12, and we also have various subjects we can help with in the college level. We also do some non-traditional support for adults who decide to go back to school. We also help with standardized test preparation, everything from the GRE to the GED, LSAT, MCAT. We help with a lot of entrance exam preparation as well. So homework support, organizational skills, we do some of everything.
So let's get down to business. How did you get the idea for your business? I know you told me your friend told you to monetize your coaching, but what was the moment that made you want to sit down and put the plan together and go forth with it?
I think my plan really just kind of occurred naturally. I did not have a definitive moment where I said, I'm gonna write a business plan and make this a thing. I think the word of mouth referrals grew the business for me. And after a while, I had flattering problem of not being able to keep up with the demand. So while I was tutoring by myself for many years, I decided to develop a team because I realized having more hands on deck would allow us to serve more students. So that's how Mosaic Masterminds has grown so well.
That's dope. Where were you when I was in school?
You know, I was around. I wish I had known. We would have been able to help you out.
Man, I was just getting 1,000 extra homework questions. It would be nice to have a nice person to be a tutor, you know? So what does a typical day look like at Mosaic Mastermind?
For me, there are no 2 days that are the same.
Okay.
You know, every other week I'm working with my accountant to process payroll. Every day I'm taking calls from people who are interested in learning more about our services. Every week I am checking in with my teammates, with our clients, trying to ensure that everyone's having a positive experience and seeing where I can be of support in any way. I might be running errands, I may be making Facebook posts. Every day looks different for me.
Okay. So if there's a kid who needs extra help, how do you give them extra help?
Some students need more support than others, and I'm really blessed to have a team that is flexible enough to work with all kinds of students. Learning the whole process of education isn't a cookie cutter process, and I think that's the luxury we have in our one-on-one space where we can cater to each learner based on his or her needs. So if students need extra support, for one, with the parents' permission, we speak directly to teachers, counselors, social workers, anyone on that caring team of support in order to get the best overall service for the student. And we do have options to have multiple sessions a week if necessary, but we're pretty good at identifying where students need concentrated effort, where they need more practice. So within our time, we also embed mentorship and confidence building because that's half the battle in learning. We notice with a lot of our learners, and we just take time that's needed, you know, and we have the space to be able to do that because it's just one student per tutor at a time.
You guys sound like you're doing a lot more than just tutoring, you know? Sound like you're really involved in the child's development, in the student's development, I should say.
Yes, yes, because we work with adults too.
Okay, okay. Well, do you get a lot more adults than expected?
No, I don't think we have expectations. We just welcome learners of all ages, of all types, but we definitely serve more youth than we do adults. I think part of that is just because there's a constant system from preschool through 12th grade, whereas adults, they may take a college class here and there. The need may not be as consistent. They may have a one-time need where they need some extra support while they're getting ready for an interview or getting ready for a speaking engagement, and we can partner with them in that way. So we tend to serve more younger students than adults, but again, we work with both populations.
Okay, so let's talk about your team. Are the people on your team around my age, 22, or are people a little bit, you know, older with more experience in teaching? What are your requirements for building your team? Who do you look for when building your team?
So first thing I look for when building my team is credibility. I look for typically positive referrals go a long way.
Okay.
So a lot of our teammates joined us from referrals of existing teammates. So they might have taught together, they might have worked together otherwise in some capacity, but they can vouch for witnessing their careful instruction, their attention to detail, and overall what's most important is that you care for students.
Okay.
You know, that just goes without saying because we want to be of service, but we want to also be of support. And if we're not genuine in that desire to help develop learners, we're not going to be effective with our job.
Okay.
But I do have a wide range of teammates as far as age and background, which is very welcomed. I really love the diversity that we have. And you know, if you're good at what you do and you care about learners, then you're welcome to talk to me.
You've been tutoring for quite some time now. What mistakes have you made in the process?
One mistake I made was taking too long to develop a team. I waited too long to scale the business, and I was just operating with what I knew, which was working on my own. I, after a while, had to start waitlisting families who were asking for support, and I didn't like that feeling, but there was only so much I could do as one person. So as intelligent as I like to think I am, I don't know why it took me so long to piece it together that having a team approach would be more effective to work with more people. So that's one thing I wish I had done sooner. Another thing that I have done that I continue to work on is comparing myself to other people. Despite the achievements I know I've made and the accomplishments I have, a lot of times I look at other people and I see, you know, especially like social media influences, I'm wondering, am I doing enough, or am I achieving at the rate I should, or why don't I have what I see other people have? And so that's very unproductive, for one, and it's really hypocritical of me because I teach and preach the total opposite with my students. I always focus on self-advocacy and, you know, encouragement. So it's totally something that I shouldn't be doing, but it's just a struggle I've had. So I'm just transparently sharing that.
Yeah, I think everyone has that problem when it comes to social media, you know. It's just so much going on around you, it makes you think like, am I doing enough? Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do? So detoxing is usually the best way to fix that, you know. I have that problem from time to time, but I don't even get on social media no more, surprisingly. I just do my own thing. But that leads me to my next question. How do you define success?
I laugh at that question because whenever I've had job interviews, I think a lot of employers want to know what success looks to candidates. And I think there's no real answer for that. I think it's left to one's interpretation. So I feel that I'm successful when I can feel accomplished, when I can feel like I am of service, and when I can feel like I'm growing. So those are the ways I account for success.
Okay, I'll give you a definition of success I've seen on Instagram a few times. You define success by the amount of freedom you have. Would you agree with that one?
I understand, I think, the aim of that statement. I would say that speaks more to power than success. I think people in powerful positions have more freedom and flexibility, while other people help to build that power for other people. So I think success can be taken in different ways. I do enjoy some freedoms, for sure, working for myself, but I also have the constant reminder that I don't really work for myself, I work for the people we serve. So it's never like a day off or feeling total freedom from my job. I'm always working on my job.
True. It doesn't stop. The grind doesn't stop.
It doesn't.
It never stops.
No, it doesn't.
It's kind of the beauty of it, you know. It's balance and chaos.
Yes.
I agree with it 110%. Okay, so back to business. How did you build credibility with your students that you tutor? Is it the A+ on the test? Is it just being there and always answering the questions when they need it? How do you build that credibility and a strong relationship with your students you tutor?
Our credibility has been built in multiple ways. For sure, the ones you mentioned. So we're an educational support services company. If we were not moving the needles, helping students achieve higher grades and retain their learning in stronger ways, we would not be operating. But I think our credibility is built around our track record too. You know, having consistency is very important, and being reliable is very important. So when people are referring us to other people, it's because they've had positive experiences with our team. They've had testimonies to increases in self-esteem or academic achievement with their students, with their learners. So I think those are the things that have built our credibility.
Okay. So where do you see your business in 5 years?
In 5 years or less, Mosaic Masterminds will be a global reference. It will be discussed in many countries. We will have tutors in different continents, and we will have students around the world as well.
Those are some strong targets and goals to aim for. Describe your work ethic.
My approach to my work ethic is threefold. I want to be responsible, I want to be reliable, and I want to be accountable. So when I think of responsibility, I think of being able to give information accurately, either based on my experiences or my research. And if I'm not able to give information, or if I'm not knowledgeable, then I can make reference to a more knowledgeable source, because we're going to find the answer regardless. When I think of reliability, I want to make sure that I am present, I'm available when expected or desired. And in terms of accountability, I take ownership for everything I say and do, and everything within my scope of influence.
Okay. What inspires you or motivates you to work as hard as you do?
I draw inspiration from people who are inspirational. I definitely am motivated by my faith. Sometimes it's hard to stay focused when you're tired, when you are wondering if you're making a difference. But I draw inspiration from my family and from people local to me. So I know a lot of times we think of celebrities and get famous quotes from famous people, but I do that on occasion, but I really look to people in my community. So I'm very inspired by parents and other caring adults who are committed to developing young people. I'm inspired by folks who are just working hard in their own right, doing what they do. I'm inspired by people who are showing of support. I'm inspired by other entrepreneurs.
So everybody, anything that just looks like success or something you want to do, it just sparks you, you just go and try it.
No, I don't try everything.
Not everything, but you know what I mean.
I'm inspired by people who are bold and brave enough to not worry about making mistakes. And I've had to kind of relax my approach, coming from a perfectionistic background and feeling like I always have to be on all the time. I'm inspired now to be a little freer in my thinking and my exploration. The same thing I try to inspire my students to do, so I can practice what I preach.
That's the name of the game, practice what you preach. So 2020, that was a weird year for everybody, especially the students.
And teachers.
Yeah. How did
and parents.
The pandemic affect your business?
The pandemic affected our business in different ways. Surprisingly, doing what we do and working in person with direct services, I never really freaked out about what that looked like from Mosaic Masterminds. I took a pause and I took the opportunity to survey the landscape of our nation, because our community is reflective of what was going on in the country and in the world. And I just quickly trained my team on how to deliver tutoring services virtually. So the virtual academic space has really grown out of necessity because of the pandemic and its interruption of the traditional school systems. But we actually had an unintended beneficial consequence when COVID hit our country, and that is we had a growth in clientele. Again, those word of mouth referrals, folks reached out to their folks in other states, and a lot of parents were tired of their kids on video games all day, not being academically engaged while they're at work. We have a lot of parents who are essential workers, and so sometimes kids were just unattended because parents had to work. So during that time, we were able to engage with students. We did a lot of tutoring and catching up, staying on track where we could with virtual tutoring. So it was actually really not too bad for us from a business standpoint.
Okay, that's good news. That's a lot of good news, because a lot of people started their own business around that time. There was a shift in the job culture atmosphere. That was a different time, so everyone was affected.
Yes.
A lot of people took a lot of risk, a lot of people got better, a lot of people didn't get better at all. So before I ask you the last question, the golden question, you have any questions for me?
Yes. Why have you decided to not go into education?
Why did I not go into education? I feel like I'm always a student. I'm not really a teacher. Honestly, I'm always looking for more ways to learn. I never thought of myself as a teacher. Actually, someone asked me, would I be a mentor to, say, kids at a Boys and Girls Club? But I told them I'm not really sure because I feel like I'm more of a student. I'd hang out with them more than teach them, you know? So that's my only answer to that, really.
Okay.
Yep.
I would say you can probably benefit from reflecting on what you do as an entrepreneur and see it more as an opportunity to teach and not make light of it, because you're an expert in your own right with what you do. So the skills you've developed and the things that you are knowledgeable about, that is teaching. It's kind of an informal instruction, but while you're mentoring and hanging out with young people, you're also teaching them.
Well, how would you balance being hanging out and also being teacher? Like, this is the truth, this is logic, this is facts, but I'm also cool with you.
I think there's a healthy approach to that from the standpoint of, like you say, you're always learning, and I feel that way too. I tell my students that, like, yes, I'm in this position where I'm your tutor, but I learn from my students all the time. And it's really a welcomed experience because I don't know everything, and I enjoy learning different things in different ways. So from that lens, as a learner, you can learn from the students that you mentor just as much as you pour into them. But you don't have to also, you know, feel in that casual environment as a mentor, you don't have to feel that you're having like a top-down, rigid approach. You know, you're still cool with them, but you're also a respected adult. So there is, I would say, that dynamic, but I would say just be casual with it.
I'll try it out. It's a new thing for me. I'm sure I'll try it out at some point, but I'll take that in consideration. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate that. Any more questions for me?
No, not this time. I want to thank you for letting me be on your show and share about what we do, and I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, it's time for the golden question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What can we do to make Grand Rapids a better city?
To make Grand Rapids a better city, I would say we can do a better job of listening and being empathetic. I think there's a lot to be gained and a lot of opportunity to be seized by paying attention to the people who live here and by being respectful of everyone's circumstances and experiences. If we all see each other as people, as humans, as relatives of someone, as friends of someone, contributors to our community, instead of feeling like some people may not understand or be of a certain status to relate to something, I think we would get further ahead if we just honestly share more experiences and respond to people's needs.
That's a solid answer. Solid answer. I agree with you 100%.
Thanks.
Any last words to the people?
Mosaic Masterminds.
Anybody like to shout out at all?
I want to shout out my mom, Olivia Harvey, just for always being so supportive of me and my endeavors. I want to shout out to my team, my fantastic team. I'm very blessed to have them. There are 18 of us now, so I'm not going to name everyone. But mosaicmasterminds.com, you can see all of our masterminds on our team. But just thank you to all of you for your continued support, your expertise, your care for our students and our families that we serve, and just allowing me to be a part of what you're doing in our community. Thanks also to my support system, my friends, and family, and thanks to you again.
Thank you for being on my show. This was a great interview. I enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, that's another episode of We Love GRTV. See you guys next time.